Mortality essentially means we are on a limited leash of time and you're conscious every moment of your life. You will only do what truly matters to you. Most people never experience life, only the drama in their head, their thoughts, their emotions, their ideas, their opinions, their philosophies.
Sadhguru emphasizes that understanding our mortality, that life is finite and time is limited, should fundamentally change how we live. When we truly grasp that our time is a limited lease, trivial pursuits and meaningless distractions naturally fall away. Instead, we focus only on what genuinely matters to us. However, most people remain trapped in psychological drama, caught up in their thoughts, emotions, and mental narratives, which prevents them from experiencing life directly. This mental preoccupation disconnects us from the raw experience of living and dying, leading to a life half-lived. Sadhguru points out that death is not a distant event, but a continuous process happening moment to moment. By becoming conscious of this, we can live with greater vitality and presence, shedding the unnecessary mental noise that clouds our awareness. This awareness is the key to embracing life fully and dying gracefully.
See, you're saying conscious in our mind. No, consciousness does not happen in your mind. Your body and mind happens in consciousness. You cannot be conscious in your mind, you can be alert in your mind. If you're alert in your mind, you'll survive better than others. But you will not be… your experience of life will not necessarily be any better than others.
Sadhguru clarifies a common misconception that consciousness resides within the mind. Instead, consciousness is the fundamental source from which both mind and body arise. While one can be alert or aware within the mind, true consciousness transcends mental activity. This distinction is crucial because being merely alert in the mind helps survival, but does not guarantee a deeper or more fulfilling experience of life. Consciousness is synonymous with aliveness itself. Without it, we would not know we exist. The mind and body operate as consequences of consciousness, not its origin. This understanding invites a shift in perspective. Rather than identifying with the mind's incessant chatter, one can recognize the deeper presence that underlies all experience. Cultivating this awareness allows us to step out of being victims of our thoughts and emotions and instead become the conscious experiencer of life.
See, anything psychological means made up by you. Am I correct? Hello? All of you, I'm asking you? What we call as psychological is essentially made up by us. You hate somebody, made up by you or no? You love somebody, made up by you or no? Everything you can make up. So when you are making up things, why don't you make something that's pleasant and wonderful for you? It's as simple as that.
Sadhguru highlights that psychological experiences, our thoughts, emotions, likes, dislikes, are constructs created by ourselves. This means we have the power to shape these mental narratives consciously. Yet, many people allow their intelligence to turn against them, fueling stress, anxiety, and depression. The mind's capacity to generate endless thoughts and emotions can become a source of suffering if we identify with them as absolute reality. Instead, Sadhguru suggests using this creative power to generate pleasant and constructive mental experiences. The problem is not the presence of thoughts, but the unconsciousness with which we engage them. By becoming aware that these mental dramas are self-created, we can begin to take control, deflate their intensity, and choose more empowering mental patterns. This conscious management of the mind is essential for mental well-being and living a joyful life.
So the simplest thing to do is this. If you sit here and just look at yourself, today before you go to bed, you sit down, spend 10 minutes and do this. What are all the things you have gathered? Your home, you gathered it over a period of time. Your car, you gathered it. This body also you gathered over a period of time, right? Were you born like this, you guys? You were born like this? No. Slowly you gathered. So your body you gathered, whatever the content of the mind you gathered, people around you gathered, everything gathered. Everything that you have gathered Just keep it aside, don't give it up, don't throw it out. Just keep it aside and go to bed. See if you can do that, it'll take some effort, but just do this. One day when you go to bed and wake up, you will wake up like a new being. Everything that you have gathered, you don't have to give it up. Just keep it aside for the night and sleep.
Sadhguru introduces a practical exercise to help individuals disentangle from the layers of accumulated identities and possessions, what he refers to as runanaba, or the debts and imprints we carry. By consciously setting aside everything we have gathered, our body, possessions, relationships, and mental content, before sleep, we create a space to experience ourselves beyond these attachments. This practice helps reveal that these accumulated things, while useful in ours, are not our true self. Recognizing this distinction deflates the ego and mental clutter, allowing thoughts to subside and a fresh sense of self to emerge. This detachment is not about renouncing life, but about gaining clarity on what is truly you versus what is merely yours. Such clarity is foundational for inner peace, reducing psychological suffering and fostering a conscious life free from the compulsions of past conditioning and external influences.
Today there's enough science to show you this, that how the genetic system is playing with you, but you can become free from that. The spiritual processes are all about this, how to become an individual life which will flower by itself, not as an extension of many lives behind us. That is okay for a cockroach, that is okay for a bee, that is okay for an animal, not okay for a human being, because our intelligence has risen to a place where we can shake it off. They can't shake it off.
Sadhguru discusses the influence of inherited memory and karma on our lives, explaining that much of what we experience is shaped by ancestral and genetic imprints. These past influences often dictate our reactions, behaviors, and even thoughts, making us extensions of previous generations rather than unique individuals. However, human intelligence provides the capacity to transcend these inherited patterns. Spiritual growth involves liberating oneself from these accumulated influences to become an autonomous, fully blossomed individual life. Unlike animals, whose lives are largely predetermined by instinct and genetics, humans have the potential to consciously evolve beyond their past conditioning. This liberation is essential for true freedom and self-realization, allowing one to live authentically rather than as a replay of ancestral histories.
So, heavens are collapsing. As heavens collapse, if you don't teach people how to be blissed out by their own nature, entire world will go into chemicals. I'm not talking about chemicals as a moral issue. It's not a moral issue for me. It is just that if 90% of humanity goes towards chemicals, to be peaceful, you need chemicals. To be joyful, you need chemicals. To be ecstatic, you need chemicals. To be healthful, you need chemicals. To grow food, you need chemicals. To drink water, your bloody water is full of chemicals. Hello? Poison. When 90% of the population goes on this, the next generation that we produce will be less than us, genetically less than us. That is a crime against humanity.
Sadhguru points out that traditional religious beliefs, such as the promise of heaven and hell, are losing their hold on modern minds, especially in affluent societies. As these metaphysical assurances collapse, people increasingly turn to chemical means, drugs, alcohol, medications, to find peace and joy. This trend poses a grave risk to future generations, potentially leading to genetic and societal decline. The antidote, according to Sadhguru, is the conscious raising of human awareness and inner bliss without external dependencies. With survival needs largely met in today's world, humanity is at a unique crossroads where spiritual awakening and mental well-being must become priorities. Cultivating inner joy and consciousness is essential to prevent widespread chemical dependency and to foster a healthier, more vibrant future.
So when it comes to inner experience, profoundness of experience is the most important thing. When it comes to activity in the world, impactfulness of our activity is the most important thing.
Sadhguru distinguishes between two key aspects of life: the profundity of our inner experience, and the impactfulness of our actions in the world. A meaningful life requires both a deep, conscious experience of being and purposeful, effective engagement with the external world. While profound inner experience enriches our personal existence, impactful action ensures that our efforts resonate beyond ourselves and contribute positively to society. He acknowledges that the extent of our impact is often shaped by the times we live in, but stresses that with today's technology and connectivity, individuals have unprecedented opportunities to influence the world. The challenge is to cultivate inner clarity and consciousness so that our actions arise from a place of depth and authenticity, thereby maximizing their positive effect.
In 2023, over 108,000 people committed suicide in United States, the most affluent nation on the planet, not for economic reasons, just not able to handle their mind. And it's growing everywhere in the world, not in any one place. All the urban centers on the planet, including India, it's becoming rampant. In 2022, I think, over 18,600 children below 18 years of age committed suicide in India. Of this, 7,600 were below 15 years of age. 12, 13, 14-year-old means they must be bursting with life. Hello? But they want to take their own life. If our children, who should be exuberance of life, want to take their own life…
Sadhguru highlights the alarming rise in mental health crises globally, including high suicide rates even among children and adolescents. This epidemic is not primarily due to economic hardship, but stems from an inability to manage the mind effectively. He stresses that mental well-being should not be left to chance or solely to institutions, but must become a fundamental part of everyday life, much like physical hygiene practices such as brushing teeth. The Miracle of Mind initiative mentioned in the conversation aims to provide accessible, simple daily practices to improve mental health and prevent deterioration. Sadhguru calls for a collective awakening to this crisis, emphasizing that nurturing mental health is essential for the future of humanity and must be integrated into our cultural and personal routines.